I am the most feared force on the internet. My mission is to watch and review adaptation activity in Hollywood. I am your best, honest, and logical line of criticism. I work in the public, exist in the light, and wear shirts as loud as I am. Welcome to Adaptation, where we show you that just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm the Dick Mick. Now, in a previous review, we talked a bit about different kinds of continuity, but I didn't actually tell you precisely what continuity really is. Continuity is, in and of itself, the action of continuing a story from its source while keeping the instances from its source intact. In other words, they keep the history of the world around the characters in the new media the same as it was in the original media. The best example is keeping locations previously established in a previous story in the universe and use it later to help the story later on. This is one of those few properties that actually explains the distillation between the original and the adaptation. Today, we're looking at Men in Black the series. Like I said, this series is one of the few adaptations that actually cared enough to explain a few things, but of course the explanations aren't apparent and you actually need to go and perform additional reading to have it make sense. It actually isn't a huge deal unless, you're an anal retentive asshole like me, but that's about the only qualm I have with this series. Mostly a concept reboot happens when an adaptation takes place, and the reason for it is to avoid having to do such heavy research. It's easier than having the viewer just jump into it and learn anew than have them look into the backstory. This show is obviously for hardcore fans of the movie, but in order to really understand the backstory about this, we have to go to the source material. It all started in 1947 when the supposed UFO crash took place in Roswell, New Mexico desert just outside the city limits. When alien mania really started to take off, especially in the 50s and 60s, there had been accounts of UFOs seen by hundreds. UFOs weren't the only odd thing. Soon after encounters, people started noticing strange men dressed in black suits wearing sunglasses and driving big, black, ominous sedans. After these supposed encounters, these men in black suits would visit the witnesses of something extraterrestrial and threaten them never to speak of what they seen. Of course, this is the more urban myth version of the Men in Black, but every idea has to start from somewhere. Enter Lowell Cunningham. According to the June 1998 issue of the sci-fi fanzine Mimosa magazine, Cunningham and his friend were driving through the Fort Saunders neighborhood of Knoxville, Tennessee, when a large black car drove past. His friend mentions the Men in Black and proceeds to explain who they are and what they were to him. Cunningham, being a sci-fi dork and aspiring writer, starts writing what will become the Men in Black comic book, published by Malibu Comics. From there, Columbia Pictures picked up the rights to the series, allowing for the highest-grossing movie of 1997 to be made. There isn't really much to be said about the comic books, because barely anyone read it. I mean, shit, it only lasted about 6 issues, not counting the one-shot that Marvel put out in 97 before the movie was released. There were a few notes to be made about the differences between the comics and the movie. Zed is never seen on panel, K never takes off his glasses, Jay is a white guy and was originally a DEA agent rather than a black NYPD officer, and the MIB handled more than just alien encounters such as demons and other monsters of mythology, kinda like a pre-BPRD. Guys, I just had a thought. What if Hellboy, Ape-Sapien, J, and K went to go fight an alien-demon hybrid? I mean, Hellboy with a Series 4 deatomizer. That'd be so fucking badass! The movie, of course, changes a good number of things, such as K's latent insanity and the MIB's shoot first, don't ask questions policy, but for the most part, they made an attempt to purify the UFO-only mythology from its source and re-engineered the plot to be something of a wholly original concept. The elements they kept were the Neuralizer, the Ray-Bans, and some of the dialogue which still puts links from the comics in the film. It was actually rather odd how the transition between the movie and the cartoon ended up happening, because like I said, you needed to actually do some extracurricular reading in order to understand it. But before we get to that, why don't we just start with the characters? Let's begin with our rookie MIB agent, Agent J. J is once again our window to the world you never see. Being that J is still adjusting to the change that not only aliens exist among us, he's also adjusting to the fact that everything he learned as a New York cop doesn't exactly work as well against lobster-faced aliens. He's also ballsy as hell, constantly running into a situation without thinking about it. You know, there's a difference between brave and stupid. Just throwing that out there. When there's a rookie, there's a veteran. One of the best, one of the originals, Agent K. Jay's partner and one of the best MIB agents ever to grace the job. K's character is the same as it was in the film. Cool, collected, and has a vast accumulation of knowledge. K always has this nasty problem of getting under my skin because it's almost like K makes up the rules as he goes along. One of the things that actually pisses me off about the guy is he never lets Jay drive the LTD. There's a joke, then there's just being balls out fucking annoying. Despite my griping, K is actually an uber badass, always having a plan or motive behind his actions, being so sly in the process that even the viewer doesn't know what the hell he's doing until he explains it. You gotta have someone to report to. The Grandmaster of MIB Operations, Agent Zed. You can tell almost immediately Zed doesn't look too close to his film's counterpart. Differences include lighter hair, no goatee, and about 100 extra pounds. Also, dark circles. Big ones. They'll rob you of your soul. Zed really had no character in almost all the media up to this point, and most likely will never have any. The man is just your standard boss who orders people around. Well, except for the Halloween episode. Neat factoid, he's voiced by Charles Napier.
You're gonna look pretty funny trying to eat corn on a cob with no fucking teeth.
You know, it's ironic using that clip considering that the Blues Brothers were the original Men in Black of film. In every science fiction everything, there's always a need for a lab tech, engineer, or scientist that has the ability to pull shit out of their ass. Agent L. I guess being a get-out-of-jail-free card isn't so bad. L left her previous life at the morgue to become a very good lab tech who has the aspirations of becoming a field agent. Problem is, she eventually does in the 4th season, and the show fucking nosedived! You'll also notice L suddenly has blonde hair, and her attitude is totally different from the movie. Now she has a
superiority complex.
That's it! I gotta say, the way they wrote this character, she still talks like Linda Fiorentino, and by that I mean Linda Fiorentino with less personality. If this character was any blander, she'd be a tub of plain yogurt dressed in a beige sweater. Just when you thought it was safe to watch cartoons in the 90s, the annoying comedy relief comes rolling back like the smell of a low tide. The Worm Guys. The Worm Guys piss me off, but at the same time, I find them damned hilarious. Really, in terms of the plot, they're just in the cartoon to help add to the levity to some of the bizarre situations the MIB are involved in. The most annoying thing about these guys is their addiction to coffee. You know, I never did understand the comedy associated with chemical dependency. You know, you've become a real smartass. Jeeves and Frank come back to the series as stool pigeons and general troublemakers, and a few new characters and enemies appear to both expand the universe and help delve deep into the backstory of the Men in Black. Although some stuff had changed, they do eventually explain it in a way where it makes sense. So why don't we just get on with it and get right to the plot and design. The post-modern art style with a dirty New York is very fitting. The character designs in the first season is very clean and fitting, giving personality to the characters in the same essence their movie counterparts do. Of course, they changed the designs and even switched a few voices by the second season, but it still works despite that. The plot revolves around many different instances of weird science, extraterrestrial criminal investigation, and assessing and diffusing potential threats. Now to address something, I know a lot of you have probably noticed that suddenly K is back. Like I said in the beginning, some extra reading was needed. Before the movie was released, Marvel Comics released 3 one-shot comics in preparation for the film. The first was the final closing issue of the original Malibu's comics called Men in Black Far Cry, an adaptation of the movie in comic book form. Hey look! An adaptation paradox! And a continuation of the movie called Men in Black Retribution. I'll give you the skinny. After K gets his memory wiped, J and L are now taken to the streets to do their jobs when it's revealed that the bug from the movie laid a shit ton of eggs in Arizona, and now they have to travel there to eliminate the bug's offspring. Hey, wait a second, I thought the bug was a male. Ew! Well, some guy gets killed and now K's Jedi powers kick in, making him realize there's something amiss. Jay and L pick his ass up because he was conveniently in Arizona and he was investigating the guy who got killed. Jay neuralizes K again, working on the idea that he'll forget that he forgot. I'm not kidding, they use double negative logic that makes my brains leak out of my ears. How much easier would it have been if Jay just reblanked K's mind that way in Men in Black 2? We could have skipped somewhere close to 40 minutes of the movie and got to the point. But then the movie would be 48 minutes long, and it was already bad enough it was as short as it was. At the end of the comic, the bugs are destroyed, K and J are paired up again, and L is shoved into the lab. Let me just calmly ask you a very honest question. Who in the fuck read this book? It's bad enough you pestered your parents to watch the movie and cried to them when you couldn't watch the cartoon. But did you go to a comic book store and pester your parents to buy you this comic book that in some way bridges the end of the movie to the beginning of the series? Wouldn't it have been just a little bit better to make an episode addressing this little plot hole? Can't imagine why the fuck not. They did it in Stargate SG-1. Continuity in this thing is again all over the fucking place. They take note of the original 5 seen in the picture in the movie and place them in the cartoon. Of course, they forget that when some fuck whistle named Alpha shows up and starts bullshit. Soon after, they go back to the original 5 explanation. Look, I knew that I had ADD, but I didn't think the writers of this shiny. Sorry, I forgot my meds. Anyway, a lot of things in this show revolve around crime stories involving aliens, with J and K developing a working relationship with each other. Mostly. In the episode The Alpha Syndrome... Quick note. All of the episode titles start with the word the, and end with the word syndrome. I don't know why. Get the fuck used to it. The aforementioned Alpha steals an alien's heart because now he has the ability to graft alien parts to his body. This Alpha fuck used to be the head of the MIB, and damn near left K for dead years ago, so K kinda takes it personally. Because J used to be a fucking cop, he manages to learn quite a bit about K's past, and puts foot to ass defeating Alpha with something called a quick clone, blowing the jerk-off up with a hidden explosive.
The role of Jay will be portrayed by a quick clone. Thank you very much.
It takes a special kind of annoying to piss me off something fierce. Look, I understand Jay is supposed to be the rookie, but there has to be a point in the show where even K would have to unpucker that tightwad fuckheaded, possibly probed ass of his. He never lets Jay drive the goddamn car. I don't know why, but that fucking irritates me.
Can I at least drive?
Not today.
So you let me drive the LTD when it gets out of the shop, right?
Elle must have activated her sonic nullifier. Your lips are moving, but I don't hear a word.
I'm not a rookie anymore, Kay. I can handle more responsibility.
Such as?
Start small. The LTD.
If that's small, think microscopic, Ace.
I know it's small potatoes, but it's just a peeve. How's he supposed to learn anything if you don't let him at least practice? Most of the comedy and intrigue in this show is derived from the simple notion that Jay is a total fish out of water. He's not a scientist, he's not a medic, he's a cop. He's still taking in the atmosphere of the world behind the world he thought he knew, and the other MIB think he's incompetent because he actually cares more about the human element on the planet than the aliens. Not unreasonable that you could find a balance, but it seems the rest of the MIB are nothing more than careless, possibly power-hungry douchebags who could care less. Then again, I do have my suspicions that the Men in Black could give a flying fuck about the aliens themselves. I mean, they are the Planetary Security, Customs, and Immigration Service, so who's to say that the TSA isn't the only agency to do some bad stuff? I spent some time talking with an alien who had asked me to conceal his race and identity. I asked of his experiences with the Men in Black. I had escaped, perishing into the void. Torchwood had confiscated me, but my race, we are supreme. So, how did you come into the presence of the Men in Black? They had
placed me in a dark room. They said I was illegally in their jurisdiction. They had disabled my weapon and done things.
What sort of things?
They opened up my travel vehicle and touched my tentacles.
I'm sorry, your testicles?
Tentacles? We of my species are mutant.
Didn't realize the MIB were into hentai.
I have since felt violated.
My god, I guess he ain't so superior after all.
Daleks are supreme. You shall be exterminated. Exterminate. Exterminate.
So superior, yet you got fingered. Now I know why they call it Astroglide. I also noticed there's a lot of stuff lifted from this show that ends up in Men in Black 2. In the episode It's a Small World Syndrome, an alien race about the same size as the Arquillians are slightly pissed off at the MIB. In a previous episode, the MIB diverted an attempt by said race to destroy Arquilia using a satellite relay. As revenge, the aliens known as the FMEX are trying to take over the Earth by getting a growth formula and making themselves bigger. Shit, man, if that's all you wanted, you could have gone over to Walgreens and actually got 2 for $10.
Thing of it is, one of these FMEC dingbats gets the formula and goes Godzilla on the city. Then, due to another fuck-up, one of the worm guys thinks the container the shit is in for coffee.
Color me fucking shocked.
Making him drink the shit and grow. They beat the shit out of each other, then end up their proper sizes thanks to science and some shit. They do the whole shebang in the middle of New York, no less, so it seems all is out of the bag. That's until they bust out the super neuralizer sitting on the upper decks of the Empire State Building and nuke everybody's memories.
Oh gee, haven't seen that before.
It don't end there, not by a long shot. In the episode The Neuralizer Syndrome, J and K are staking out a group of jack maggots called the Chop Shoppers, when in the middle of the job, some woman recognizes J. In the middle of the screw-up, the aliens take off with K and J following. In the pursuit, K drops his neuralizer, J picking it up in the chase. After the alien shipjackers get away, J was wearing his glasses, but K took his off. This results in the accidental neuralization of K.
Kay?
Yeah, I'm Kay. But who are you?
The rest of the episode is about Kay retracing his roots in a time before his MIB experiences. In other words, it's boring. Thing is, there wasn't a deneuralizer before this incident. The comic proves that, but I still found it odd that throughout the B-plot of the episode, the MIB try to find a way to reverse it, in which they do.
Again, you can't convince me that Gordon and Finero didn't watch this cartoon. Gordon Finero? The dickheads who wrote Men in Black 2?
Okay, as you can tell, I'm talking, but I'm not saying anything. The reality? I started this review with the mindset that I was going to explain how great this series is, but the fact is the more and more I watched the show, I knew I liked it, but as I was writing this, I couldn't explain even on an episode-by-episode basis why I do. The truth is, it's one of those that has great action, great science fiction stories, and great art. The problem is, it has all that, but for the fucking life of me, I can't explain why I like it.
I guess when you see it firsthand, it's not so entertaining anymore. I guess when you see it firsthand, it's not so entertaining anymore.
Sir, we have a code 26.
You want to see something funny as shit? Check this episode out. In the episode The Star System Syndrome,
God, these episode names sound worse and worse the more you say them aloud.
alien actors in Hollywood start disappearing and it's up to J and K to figure out what the fuck happened to them.
Spoiler alert, the Teletubbies from hell have too high of moral standards and effectively nuke them.
I especially love this episode because of all the cracks they make at Hollywood.
Pete, Mr. Spielberg's holding on line 4 regarding the E.T. prequel.
He diss you on Letterman?
Leno.
Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, Rip Torn, blah, blah, blah. It's a slam dunk.
Francis, honey, talk to me. We have to find a comeback vehicle for Space Demon. Hey, call Tarantino. He turned Travolta's career around.
and the simple fact that they name-dropped like a motherfucker in this thing, although I do realize that Tarantino is the one that's responsible for Battlefield Earth. Indirectly, of course.
While J and K are doing the legwork, the Worm guys play stowaway and try to break into the business with all the grace of the Three Stooges. They try for being actors when they get the bright idea to get a human suit and try to sell a story.
Look, Mr. Cunningham, is it?
See? Name drop like a motherfucker. Lowell Cunningham? Go back to the beginning of the video!
Well, by the end of the episode, J and K head back to New York to discover the Worm's interference in Hollywood, which allows for this.
I don't believe it! Agent Smith and Agent Jones aren't your ordinary peace officers, and the fugitives they hunt aren't your ordinary criminals.
They are the Men in Black, protecting the Earth from the scum of the universe.
How? Who? How do we stop that? We get help.
Help is here!
You provide the muscle.
We provide the plan!
Holy shit! I think I figured out where Michael Bay got the idea for the alien turtles.
And lots of whip!
And Zed is expressing how the rest of us feel.
Back to Hollywood.
We'll neuralize the town. Won't be the first time.
So that's why they keep making the same movie.
No kidding.
You want to tell me what we're doing here?
Code 26. This one figured us out.
Standard protocol?
Unless he resists, then we're gonna have to do it the hard way.
I love the hard way.
Put that back in the trunk.
In the end, is this show any good? I can't tell. It's almost like I want to like it, but it's just insanity. It sticks close to the source material, but that additional reading needed to understand the opening of the series kind of makes it... I don't know. Should you check it out? Sure, I can't see the harm in it. I mean, after all, there's fun to be had watching Doctor Who meets Dragnet, but I get this feeling there's something about this show that keeps you from questioning.
Guess I'm gonna need to talk to an old boss. To imagine, I wasn't aware of it until now.
Dude, I hope this goes smooth. Why, because you can't use the big gun?
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. I'm Richie McAllister reminding you not to get caught watching crap.
Department of Defense, DC-3. Division 6.
Oh, shit! For a second there, I thought it was something serious.
Are you Richie McAllister from Adaptation?
Yeah? Look, I know I don't have very many fans yet, and I'm just getting started, but,
Are you currently finishing up your review of Men in Black the series?
yeah, it just got done. Just rolled the credits.
Can you tell us anything weird you noticed with the show?
Why do you care? You're DOD. Whoa, what are you doing? I'm one of you, you fucking idiots!